What's up, guys? Welcome back to Viewer Castle. Today we're going to start off with FNjEE. Castle level is a 30. Could have actually been validated on a runaway. I don't think I've ever seen a castle validated on a runaway. So this is one of the few level 30 runaways that I've seen. Portrait actually looks a lot cooler than my portrait. I don't know why that is, but either way, it could be on either one of these. Probably on the mage. It's a better character overall, I think, but let's just jump in and see how the castle looks. I'm not sure about these castles. These are just from the list. They're not like recent emails or anything, so I don't know if there are barricades in any of these castles. Just keeping that out there. I probably won't talk too much about defenses that don't have barricades at this point because, I mean, we've been seeing those for months. You know, I'm really looking for barricaded defenses right now. Mainly because I want inspiration, like among other things. Like I want to theory craft them and I want to figure out how they're working and how we can improve them and stuff like that. I really want to start changing the meta of this game being all in the boss room. Like I'm working on things to try to get new castles into the meta. You know, I know people like kill zones because it's probably the most fun in the game, let's be honest. Killing people is what you want, and having fun little traps that will kill them in one shot is probably the best feeling as a defender that you can have. Probably the worst as an attacker, but either way. Let's see how this works. One of them actually threw me backwards, and I'm kind of confused by that. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I was trying to talk about it, and then I ended up dying. Let's heal up. But yeah, one of them is throwing you backwards, which I'm not really sure about. You had the smelly archer throwing down bear traps, and I was expecting to get launched into the bear traps, but then one threw me backwards instead, so that's kind of weird, but it's a cool setup though. The only thing that you can, I mean, there's a couple things you can do to get around this setup. Obviously I didn't do any of them because I wanted to see how it would work, but what you can do is you can obviously throw down a volley down the corridor. I'm guessing that would probably hit. Seems like it probably would. Other things you can do is get hit by the mouse wheels to build up some stun immunity. You know, like 2 times building that up, and then when you get thrown, you don't get thrown nearly as far, and you don't get stunned nearly as long. And you can do that to build up stun immunity and get out of the way before things hit you. That's the only reason I don't like mouse wheels in front of springboard traps like that. Alright, and then we have a mouse wheel room. It's a slight, everybody has their own like little slight different variations to mouse wheel rooms. And there are actually a couple barricades, so that's good. I wasn't sure if this castle had them. But there are a few that actually make it harder for you to skip this room, which actually is something cool that I haven't seen people use yet. You can use barricades like this. Probably gonna end up dying again. I just want to get past this. You can use barricades like that to actually make it harder to just skip the room altogether, because you're going to get thrown around by mouse wheels as you're killing them, and the chances are pretty high that you get thrown into a mob's aggro circle when that happens. I'm reasonably sure I'm going to die again. Do I go forward, or do I try to fight this here? I'm not sure what's going to be in the next room, but I don't know if it can be worse than this. There's been quite a few points used so far. I'm going to try to get into the next room. It's like the only way I'll survive is if there's a room that doesn't have any mobs in it, and there's a flameo, so... I'm just going to heal up one more time and just get through it. It's a good castle, though. Obviously, there's only a few barricades in it, so that can always be improved, but... Other than that, I like the first room quite a bit. And then the mouse wheel room is good. It's got a couple extra barricades in it. And then the boss room following up with the flameo is always good. Oh god, that hurts so much. That's like the one attack right there that is probably the best thing about flameo. I'm probably not going to heal up off of heal up after this because I'm almost done with the castle. But yeah, that Flameo, when he stands up and breathes fire, if you're locked into an animation like volley or headshot, you pretty much just die. Like, it just happens. And then the start of the fight where he leaps on you and stuns you is also a pretty good thing. Those are the two attacks that are really good with Flameo. And like the up over the head thing that like comes down and splashes with Snottingham that leaves that puddle is like probably his best attack. But he's just better at overall DPS, and Flameo's better at like burst damage. Two different bosses do roughly the same thing, and they're both pretty good. But yeah, we're gonna jump into number 2 in just a second. Alright, next up we have l-BoNkeRs. Castle level is a 26. Again, I jumped into it because I wasn't sure if targeted attacks was going to work. I'm not sure, maybe they lowered the restrictions on targeted attacks, or maybe just I'm not aware of how big the leaks are. I thought they were every 100 crowns, but they might be every 200 crowns. Either way, we're jumping into this. I'm not sure, like I said, if there's any barricades in this defense. It looks like actually there is some barricades over here. You can see them, so there are going to be some barricades. It looks like it's a fire mine trap. Unfortunately, fire mine traps just don't really work anymore because they don't deal enough damage, in my opinion, to justify them. Let's see how much damage it actually does, though. It does have some of those, but you can see, like, I'm out of this now, and I've hardly taken any damage. It's just fire mines their range is not big enough. You might be able to get a little bit more damage out of this because a couple of your first ballista traps went off when I was still moving down the line of springboard traps, so you might be able to rotate those in a way that delays them a little bit more and makes it so that they actually hit. But either way, there's not a ton of damage, and there's a pretty big investment in terms of traps right there. So it's something to think about. Alright, so let's continue on with a spike room. I should start stutter stepping this as I'm going around. Start killing these things off so I don't take damage. I like these type of setups, though. It's something that I wanted to do with my castle, and I just didn't have enough barricades when I first designed it, because they're actually pretty expensive. A lot of these people that don't have many barricades, also, you have to keep in mind, like, they're quite expensive right now. It took me a lot of farming just to do my castle, and my castle doesn't have that many barricades. I could have definitely fit in a lot more, so... Alright. So far there's just been a lot of spike trap rooms, and if you continue to like take out the barricades from far away, you can take little to no damage from these traps. If you do take damage from these, I could see it adding up though, because there's actually not a big point investment here, even though it kind of seems like there might be. So like right here, I'm going to take 2 ticks of spike trap damage, which isn't ideal, obviously. But yeah, since spike traps are only 2 points each, and having no creatures in with them, it's not a huge investment to actually do this. So you have to be, you know, a little bit careful and try not to take extra damage that you shouldn't necessarily take. Alright, let's see if I can actually get across this. Okay, and then it looks like we're going to have the boss room here. I still haven't seen any barricades used in the boss room. I'm not sure if they would be... They're probably going to just be worse than spike traps. So, I can see why people wouldn't use them, but... I don't know, it's an interesting idea. I'll talk about at least one thing that I was thinking of, but I don't think it would be all that good. It might be, I don't really know. I'll talk about it as soon as I finish off this boss room, because I don't want to get killed while I'm talking about it. Might have to use one more potion here. See if I can heal myself off of other things. I can't believe I missed that headshot.
This? Ah, it's only a scratch.
Alright. So this is level 26 castle, I'm level 30, so it felt a little easier than it should have. There's a pretty big investment on that fire mine trap, and there's not a ton that you get out of it. Really, the only damage dealing you have is that fire mine trap, and then this boss room. The other stuff you can't really think that it's going to, you can't, you know, guarantee that it's going to do damage. There's nothing really, I mean, you can't guarantee that anything is going to do damage, but, it's a lot better than, like, having creatures around things make the traps a lot more effective. But it's an okay castle. Obviously level 26, you just don't have that many points to work with. When you're doing a big boss room, you can't do a ton else. The only thing I can think of is maybe replacing your fire mines with something else, because they're just not really doing the damage you need them to do. But anyway, what I was talking about with the boss room that I was thinking about, I'm not sure how well it would work or if it would work at all, because you'd be adding extra space on the sides, but basically what I was thinking is you could move these spike traps in one hex on each side, so that there's more of a more narrow corridor going in the middle, and then you put barricades on the outside where the edges of the spike traps would be instead, and you aggro the boss room early you aggro the group early inside of the boss room. And how many people are really going to destroy these when they have 90 plus mobs coming down on them? Like, are you really going to take the time to try to destroy all of the sides so you can use that little extra space? Because if you're standing over here and like there's just this narrow space and then there's a spike trap right here, that's not a ton of space to maneuver around anyway. So I'm wondering if that would work pretty good. Just to lower the space down a little bit more inside of the boss room. It might actually be a thing that could work out. I don't even know if you have enough barricades to use in the boss room where that could work though. You'd have to have some down each side of the boss room, and that's a lot of space to cover. But it's something to think about. I'm not sure if it would work. Another thing I was thinking about is like a triangle type thing, but I think you'd just destroy them and it would be fine. Where it like puts the person inside of a choke inside the boss room. But I'm pretty sure they would just destroy the barricades and it wouldn't work, so I don't know. There's got to be something that makes the boss room at least a little bit more effective with barricades. I mean, I probably still don't have enough barricades to fill all of my rooms up to the max, so I'm still... every time I loot my gold mines, I throw down like 2 barricades, and then I delete them from my castle and I just save them up. I think I have like 12 extras right now that I'm not using in my current defense, and then I don't know how many I have in my defense right now. But yeah, let's jump into number 3 in just a second. And for number 3 we have the TheCrimsonLink. Castle level is a 30. Validated on this crazy gear knight. This is actually probably the best gear that I've ever seen out of any character in this game. 1000 DPS with 5500 life. I actually just want to stand here and look at this gear for just a moment. I did not notice this. Usually I just like jump into a viewer castle and I go over and I just quickly glance at their gear to see, it's usually either lower DPS high hit points or high DPS low hit points, and it can kind of tell you the type of castle. Higher DPS can deal with more mobs at one time, as long as they're dropping health globes and healing themselves up, and high hit points can usually deal with more traps at one time, and like burst damage and stuff like that. But this is actually the first time where I've seen 1000 DPS itself is like something to say, and then having 5000 hit points is just crazy. If I could have this gear on my archer, it would be actually disgusting. I wonder how long it took this guy to get this kind of gear. He must either be extremely lucky, or maybe he was just constantly re-rolling items. If you watch this video, I would love to hear exactly how you got all of this gear, because that's just insane. I've heard a couple people say like I get an epic drop, and I don't even really mention it, because normally they aren't upgrades. Like, it's actually pretty difficult to find upgrades. So not even all of the stuff that he has like hit points on it. I mean, I realize knights have high base hit points regardless. Yeah, that's pretty good. Couple block chance items as well. It doesn't look like there's any stun immunity. Let me just double check that I'm correct on that. Control resistance, yeah, it's 0%. But with that much hit points, it doesn't even really matter. It's going to probably be a difficult castle. Knights do tend to have a little bit of a harder time validating castles quickly, but with that kind of DPS, it's gonna be tough to get through this, I'm sure. But yeah, it's definitely some impressive gear. Alright, so I'll go explore this, because why not? I don't care about getting timed out. Generally, if I'm just attacking a castle for resources or for crowns or whatever I'm attacking it for, if it's not for viewer castles, and I see these empty rooms, and I like can figure out which way to go pretty early on, I will skip the empty passages and just go for 2 stars. Because one, it's quicker in terms of real life time. You can get more castles done in an hour, and also it's not that big of a deal just to get 1 less star. Like, when you're attacking for crowns, okay, it kind of is, but when you're attacking for loot, I don't think there's any difference, or if there is, it's like 10%, which isn't that big of a deal. I don't know, it used to be 10%, I think. but I think they may have changed it just to give different amounts of crowns when open creation came out. I'm not 100% sure on that though. Alright, so there were a couple mines over there. Let's continue on. I'm not sure if there's going to be barricades in here or not. That was a terrible roll, probably the worst ever. Oh, that was interesting. I didn't expect the Cyclops. You actually don't see Cyclopses all that often anymore. I miss the level 32 Cyclopses, I'm gonna be honest with you. Those things used to do so much damage. Oh, that's a lot of damage, that's a lot of damage. Oh my god. I think I preemptively used a potion. I was like, that's gonna hit me for a lot, and then I just like used a potion, but I didn't really need to. Alright, hopefully that kills off some of those archers, because those things are gonna be crazy. I saw like 5 smelly archers all getting ready to shoot me, and I was like, okay, use a potion. I need to be full life to get through that. This is a pretty interesting castle though. It's definitely different. This could be improved a lot with barricades, I think, too, because there's not really a ton of room to move around anyway, and having barricades in here would just make even less room to move around in.
It's important to stay hydrated.
Alright, looks like this is going to be the boss room now. Boss room is actually kind of weird. It seems like you might be able to skip some of this if you were to hug the spike trap wall. But there is a Snottingham in the back here, so you might not be able to.
Say goodnight, mister.
I'm actually not sure if mines, when they're still alive, if they actually stop arrows from hitting you. It used to be the case, but I actually don't know if that's the case anymore. I have not used that strategy in a long time. Used to work with Snottingham as well. If you broke line of sight, you could get him to come right up next to you. I'm actually going to see if that is the case. It looks like it does block it, and yeah, he's going to walk up right next to me. That's actually kind of cool. I didn't know if that was still the case. I think if they're broken down, it doesn't work anymore, though. I think they just can fire over them. Yeah, they can, yeah. It used to be one of the only ways to get around triple Scorpio boss rooms back in the day. Back when you could only have 36 points in your boss room.
Excellence in execution.
That was the max.
Just need a second.
And triple Scorpio boss room used to be like the overpowered one. It's kind of funny because it's a creature that's never even used anymore because they nerfed him so much. Alright, so yeah, pretty good castle. Let's see, I think that's pretty much it. So if you guys want to be a part of viewer castles, you can email me at FrenzyCastleRuns@hotmail.com. Level 20 and above castles. Currently I only have 3 castles left on my list. These are all castles that I don't know if they have barricades. If you're gonna, submit castles, recent castles to me, just make sure they have at least a couple barricades in them. I know level 20s are gonna have a hard time getting barricades because they need so much gold to actually afford them, but try to get at least a barricade defense in there. I want to see different ideas that are coming out with those. I think I'll be building my castle sometime next week. I'm still ironing out some of the details because I might do some sort of a special event with that this week. And it might even turn into a weekly or bi-weekly thing if it works out well, but there'll be more details about that a little later this week. Anything else? I'm pretty sure that's it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.